Alright guys, today we're talking about this ZT-0562. This one is in S35VN. This is the one I did the sharpening video on. Now I have tested at least 3 other ZT S35VN. However, a lot of things happened at the same time. One of them got sold, one of them got traded away, and the other one got returned. And I ended up losing the SD card. It corrupted, lost all the footage that I had of that, was too late to go back and test again. I do somewhere have the results of at least one written down. I may include them in here and put them on the sheet. I do remember exactly how it did. This one is going to be 17 degree per side test. As I talked about in the sharpening video, I don't want to enlarge the bevel on this anymore. It's at a pretty good place right now. And you guys will see exactly how it did when we talk about the results. So go ahead, and before we get to the second half, if you guys would like or dislike, whichever, consider subscribing. All that stuff helps the information get viewed by a wider audience. And it's free. So let's go ahead and get that cutting out of the way, and then we'll come back and talk about it. You saw how it sharpened, talk about how it deburred, and how well it did in testing at 17 degrees per side. Okay, now that we saw that cutting, go ahead and talk about how this stropped, how the other sharpenings went, what the results of the test were, as well as I did find the ZT S35VN results that you guys never got to see a video for, that I did, like I said, probably 1.5 to maybe even almost 2 years ago now. So those of you that saw the sharpening video, pretty straightforward sharpening. No problems reprofiling this down to 17 degrees per side. Same 1500 grit that every other edge is taken to for testing. And stropped on 631 micron after that video. And that is one of the edges that I tested. Deburred perfectly fine, no problems, totally uneventful, just like any other knife would deburr, zero issues. So before I go over the test results of this, just cover to give you an idea of what the other ZT S35VNs actually did. So I had either traded for, I believe, maybe, but I definitely traded it away, 0450 carbon fiber S35VN. And the best test on that particular knife was 118 feet fine edge. 31 feet working edge for a total of 149 feet. Had a loaner 0450, same exact knife. And keep in mind, all three of these were run at 15 degrees per side. So the second 0450, that one 115 feet fine edge, 30 feet working edge for a total of 145 feet. So pretty close to the other one. I don't recall how far apart the serial numbers were, but they were a few thousand apart at least. And then lastly, a 0801 in S35VN, and that one did 108 feet fine edge, 32 feet working edge for a total of 140 feet. All pretty close, all pretty much in the center of average for production S35VN. The cold steel American Lawman in S35VN that I did, very close to all those numbers. It's pretty standard for S35VN on a large production scale. How did this one do? So on edge number 3, which you saw the sharpening for at 17 degrees per side, this one did 135 feet fine edge, 35 feet working edge for a total of 170 feet. So definitely above average. Pretty happy with that for the amount of S35VN that I've tested. Large production anyway. And if you guys go back, the Medford Proxima did almost exactly what this 0562 did. Sharpened it again, stropped it the same way. We're still at 17 degrees per side, and ran the test again. And in that test, 134 feet fine edge, 37 feet working edge for a total of 171 feet. So this is definitely on the high end of large production S35VN. I can say the other ZTs I tested, I wasn't super happy with the way a couple of those were in use. One of them lost the edge with me at work rather quickly. Even though it tested okay, it just did not hold up. This one, I am not sure how it would do day to day. As far as testing goes, almost exactly what the Medford did, so definitely good. Now, on the good side of production S35, can go back and look at the early Demco AD15 that I have in S35 before he switched to 20CV. And that one did 163, 165 feet fine edge and just over 200 feet total. So definitely not the best that S35VN can be, but good. And if you go a step further, Steve did test his Sebenza 25 in S35 at 15 degrees per side, and that did 220 something feet total in a 1-inch section. Not bad. Definitely better than any other experience that I've had with ZT S35VN. So what I figure I would do on camera also, we'll go ahead and check out the section that I tested in. Is right in here. We're going to go ahead and see how that is after testing and see what some passes on a 1 micron strop will do. So you can hear it kind of hanging up a little bit. The edge is unused back here and in front of the testing area, so I'm just going to go ahead and strop in the center right here where I used it. So that was 10 passes per side on 1 micron. And what do we have now? That came back really nicely. Really happy with the way that just came back. I do like the 0562. This one, I'm just guessing here from how it actually cut, would be a pretty decent user. The way it's dropped back is very promising. As far as the carbon fiber and titanium version in 20CV, ZT 20CV has been so hit and miss for me. There's no way I would buy one, even though I really do like it. I haven't measured this yet, or maybe I did. I don't remember at this point. I'm trying to get so many videos done. I really wouldn't go past 17 degrees on this. As I said, it's pretty comparable right now to a Spyderco bevel when they're in the 20 to 22 thousandths behind the edge range. This still cuts nicely, no problems with it. That's about all I have for this one. Get this sharpened back, get it back to the owner. This one did well, really surprised. And to show how, for ZT anyway, how this S35VN did, you can go back and look at, I did the 0470 and 20CV, and I believe this actually might have cut a little bit more in a 1-inch section than that 20CV did. And I also did the RJ Martin, don't recall the number right now, the RJ Martin in S35VN, I believe it was, that I tested. And you can compare it to those. Those are all in the data sheet with all the numbers. You can find that in the description. It has some hardness testing. It has over 200 of the knives that I've tested, what the fine edge was. Then the working edge column is what the total amount cut in that 1-inch section was. So you guys can check that out. May do a video on that too, just so people know that it's actually there. Some different things you can compare on there and so on. And I do need to do an update on this right here, the AD 20.5. Still been using it. Not going to cover anything of that in this video. And I think in the same video I may do an update on this Rex 45 that I've talked about in a couple videos. It's going to end up being a much longer video than I thought it was, and when I do an update about this, I'll go ahead and cover why that's going to be the case. But I'm going to guess this is, before I get the final video on this out, it's probably going to be a good 3-4 months from now. So definitely interesting, and I may just have changed my mind about Rex 45. So that was the ZT 0562. You guys have one, or what is your experience with ZT's S35VN? Love to hear it. Drop it down below. Like I said, I do really like the design of this. I'm just not into the cost versus the actual performance that you get out of it. That's all I have for this one. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.